Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. I'm super excited to have you here because we're looking at an absolutely massive shift in how we grow our food. For years, vertical farming has been hailed as this ultimate future of agriculture, a high-tech answer to land shortages and climate change. But recently, the industry kind of hit a wall. So today, we're going to unpack the very real crisis happening right now in vertical farming, and more importantly, how a breakthrough system called BK conveyor culture, or BKCC, is literally changing the game.
So let's dive right into this paradox. Why are the farms of the future already shutting down? Seriously, this is a technology that was meant to save agriculture, yet we're seeing all these state-of-the-art facilities close their doors and go bankrupt. They promised us year-round food production, totally immune to the weather. But behind those shiny LED lights, something is deeply, deeply broken.
Well, here's exactly what went wrong. There are basically four big culprits behind these failing farms. First up, high energy costs. Now, to be fair, the industry fully expected high power bills from the jump, but the next three issues, they really caught everyone off guard. We're talking severe labor shortages because workers just don't stick around long enough to get skilled. Then there's crop inflexibility, meaning facilities get locked into producing the exact same crop all year round, completely ignoring what the market actually wants. And finally, there's a hidden environmental issue, massive water waste and the periodic, super harmful dumping of nutrient solutions.
Okay, Section 1, the vertical farming crisis. Let's look at the reality of traditional systems.
We really need to look closely at how traditional vertical farms operate day to day to understand that the crisis here isn't just a tech problem, it's fundamentally a human one. Take traditional fixed rack systems. In these setups, workers are constantly bending, twisting, reaching, climbing up and down ladders, and walking miles down these massive aisles. It is repetitive, it's dangerous, it's exhausting, and honestly, incredibly inefficient. But then you have BK conveyor culture, or BKCC. It completely flips the model on its head. It relies on one-point work. The worker just stays in one safe, comfortable spot, and these light trays are automatically delivered directly to them. No ladders, zero heavy lifting.
So the absolutely crucial pivot for this entire industry boils down to this one idea. BKCC is not built on machine-centered automation, it was built on human-centered design. Instead of just throwing wildly complex and expensive robotics at the problem, just for the sake of having robots, BKCC focuses entirely on making farm work safe, comfortable, and painless for actual humans.
Which brings us to Section 2, a human-centered solution, solving the agricultural labor shortage.
Let's connect this human-first design directly to the huge labor shortage agriculture is facing right now. The hard truth is, people simply don't want to do physically grueling, dirty, outdoor work anymore, especially in terrible weather. But by redesigning the job around the human, the financial impact is just staggering. Get this, BKCC cuts labor costs by 2/3 or more. 2/3, because the system allows one single person to do everything from one spot without needing any special training or doing exhausting physical labor. The facility needs way fewer workers, which drastically slashes operating expenses.
And how they actually achieve those savings is wild. The walking and climbing required in a fixed rack system is incredibly high. But compare that to the BKC system, which requires 36 times less walking and climbing. That's a 36-fold reduction in physical strain. This guarantees the operator is comfortable and safe, all while actually speeding up the entire harvesting and planting process.
Moving on to Section 3, how the system works. Let's dive into the mechanics of BKCC.
We've talked a lot about the human benefits, but let's take a look under the hood to see how this smart conveyor system actually pulls this off. BKCC relies on a really dynamic, specialized irrigation method. As the trays move along the conveyor, the system waters the crops perfectly in 3 steps. Step 1 is root zone soaking, making sure the base gets exactly what it needs. Step 2 is a gentle overhead spraying. And Step 3 is where the magic really happens, quick tilt draining. The trays actually tilt to rapidly drain the water. And all of this happens automatically, not a single human finger lifting a watering can.
And that leads to a massive environmental win. BKCC saves 80% of the water typically used in these environments. It uses just 1/6 of the water. This drastically reduces that hidden environmental burden we mentioned earlier. The harmful periodic dumping of chemical nutrient solutions that really plagues traditional closed-loop systems.
Now, you're probably thinking, if it takes less physical effort and uses fewer resources, the crop output must drop, right? Actually, it's the exact opposite. BKCC boosts overall productivity by 60% or more. And on top of that, because you don't need giant walkways for people to squeeze through, BKCC gives you 20% more growing area in the exact same footprint as an old-school rack system.
Section 4. Flexibility and scale, adapting to a shifting market.
So let's shift focus to how BKCC solves another major issue that doomed a lot of older farms: crop inflexibility. A farm that's locked into growing only lettuce is super vulnerable to market changes. But BKCC builds resilience right in. Thanks to standard trait compatibility, farmers can grow microgreens, animal fodder, herbs, seedlings. They can even run totally different kinds of crops in the exact same system at the exact same time. This means farmers can pivot their production fast when market demand shifts, making the whole business way more stable and profitable.
To really grasp the scale of what this flexibility means, check out this staggering stat. One BKCC unit can produce enough animal fodder to feed 1,000 cows, and it does that using only 1,000 square meters of space. That is an unbelievable level of space efficiency and scalability for massive industrial-level agricultural needs.
But what I absolutely love about this is that it's not just for massive dairy farms. The system has incredible modular scalability. Yes, it works for giant container facilities, but retailers can also set up supermarket units. Food service businesses can implement salad bar units. It even scales all the way down to family-sized farms, giving a really stable income to a small couple-run operation. It's so versatile.
Finally, Section 5, the future of food, integrating BKCC into tomorrow's smart cities.
Looking at the macro vision here, BKCC is totally compatible with IT, AI, and robotic automation systems. That allows for smart control, remote management, and seamless integration straight into urban environments. And this really brings us to the ultimate human impact of this technology. Because the system requires zero heavy lifting, no ladders, and no extensive special training, it completely changes who gets to be a farmer. As our source notes, it's a brand new solution allowing older farmers to keep going without destroying their bodies, and it totally opens the door for younger people and entirely new demographics who never even thought they could participate in farming.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder. With clean automation, modular design, and a system that finally puts human safety first, will your city's next skyscraper be a human-centered farm? Just imagine fresh food production directly where people live, work, and shop. BKCC proves that the future of vertical farming isn't dead at all. It just needed to be designed for us first. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the future.